Did you not know? Have you not heard? Hasn't he declared to us from the start of the earth? It is he who unfolds the heavens like a velvet curtain. Lift your eyes on high and see who created these. Lift your eyes on high and see who created these.
Shalom, my name is Kerry Alexander, and I'm here to do the second video on the Mazarot. Last time we went through it, and I showed you from a scriptural standpoint how that the Mazarot is something that Yahuwah created in the heavens, and he named every one of the stars, and that the stars, the meanings of the stars and the constellations refer to the Messiah. Every one of them refers to him in some way. And so let me just say that the Hebrew Mazarot begins with Virgo, which is, it's in Latin, it means the virgin, and ends with Leo, the lion. Every one of these signs in their original forms has everything to do with the works of the Messiah. Yahushua even declared that he is the first and the last. Isaiah 48, 12, 13, 16, and 17 says, "Listen to me, O Yaakov, and Israel, my called. I am he, I am the first, I am also the last. Also my hand has laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has stretched out the heavens. I call to them, let them stand together. Come near to me, hear this. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning, from the time that it was, I was there. And now the Master Yahuwah has sent me and his Spirit. Thus said Yahuwah your Redeemer, the set-apart one of Israel. I am Yahuwah your Elohim, teaching you what is best and leading you by the way you should go." Revelation 1, 7 through 8. "See, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye shall see him, even they who pierced him. And all the tribes of the earth shall mourn because of him. Yes, Amen. And I am the Aleph and the Tav, beginning and end, says Yahuwah, who is, and who was, and who is to come, the Almighty." Revelation 22, 12, 13, also on the first and last. "And see, I am coming speedily, and my reward is with me, to give each according to his work. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, the first and the last." Where Yahushua is declaring that he is the one who does the works that the constellations are portraying. The meanings of the constellations are sown in the names of each star that Yahuwah named. Meanings of the names of the stars are the same in all languages. The Witness of the Stars, written by E.W. Bullinger, is a great work explaining this. Another great work is from Robert Scott Wadsworth and Daniel G. Stottmeyer, in A Voice Crying in the Wilderness. If you want to know the meanings of the stars within the constellations, you can refer to their books. My purpose in this document is to bring out biblical prophecies that are referring to them. I have placed the meaning of the constellations at the beginning of each picture. And this is one of my favorite things. This prophecy that was given to Joseph, or actually this dream, prophetic dream, is really one of the first great manifestations of the sign of Virgo. And let's read it. It says, in Joseph's dream in Genesis 37, 9 to 10, he dreams that the sun and the moon and 11 stars bowed down to him, and related it to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, your brothers, indeed come down and bow to you?" See, even though Jacob did not like the dream, he certainly did understand what it meant. The sun represented Joseph's father Jacob. The moon represented his mother Rachel. And the stars represented his brothers. But the dreams said 11 stars, now didn't it? But the 11 bowed to the 12th star, which was Joseph. You see, the reason they all bowed to him was later he would be at the right hand of Pharaoh. And because there was a famine in the land, they had got to Egypt to get food from the granaries that Joseph had set up for the people. But also, Joseph was a perfect picture of our Messiah and how the sun and moon and stars bow to him. The birth of Israel, therefore, represents the virgin bride or the woman in prophecy. So let us look at the correlation between Israel and the sun and the moon and stars in Jeremiah 31, 35, 37. See, because this is the birthplace of Israel. This is Jacob, this is Rachel, and these are their sons, their 12 sons this is talking about. So clearly, the constellation Virgo is, the woman in the constellation Virgo is representing Israel. So here in Jeremiah 31, 35, and 37, thus said Yahuwah, who gives the sun for a light by day, and the laws of the moon and the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea and its waves roar, Yahuwah of hosts is his name. If these laws vanish from before me, declares Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel shall also cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus said Yahuwah, if the heavens above could be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I would also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, declares Yahuwah. So, I mean, this is so perfect. I mean, this is a perfect description of how the constellations and all the luminaries in the sky are being referred to and correlated to Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. Because if something happens to the sun, moon, and stars, then so also Israel will cease to being a nation. And so they're inseparable. You cannot divide them. They are one in idea. But you see, this is how the constellations work. In all actuality, the constellations are just a group of stars in the night sky. And as the meanings of the names of all the stars in a particular group are carefully considered, then lines are drawn from star to star to show the configuration of the subject the stars are portrayed. This is where the ideas for the pictures come from that are overlaid over the clusters of the stars. And so this is what you see in the heavens. You actually don't see a picture. You know, don't be disappointed when you look up into the sky and you don't see this picture of Virgo. If we could remove the picture of Virgo and you see the stars behind her, then that's actually the constellation of Virgo. But the brightest star in Virgo is called in Latin Spica. In Hebrew, this name is Zerah, which means seed. The star Al-Samek means branch. The star Beta Zavihave, or a better way to say it, Tzebi Yahweh, or even more correctly, Tzabi Yahuwah, which means beautiful Yahuwah. Just as it says here in Isaiah 4, verse 2, "And that day the branch of Yahuwah shall be splendid, beautiful, and esteemed, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for the escaped ones of Israel." The star Al-Muradin in Arabic means the sent one. Now let me show you a couple of scriptures that go along with this. John 3:34, for he whom Elohim has sent speaks the words of Elohim, for Elohim does not give the Spirit by measure. John 4:34 is very similar. Yahushua said to them, my food is to do the desire of him who sent me and to accomplish his work. Now watch in John 6:37 through 40, all that the Father gives me shall come to me, and the one who comes to me I shall by no means cast out, because I have come down out of heaven, not to do my own desire, but the desire of him who sent me. This is the desire of the Father who sent me, that all he has given me I should not lose of it, but should raise it in the last day. And this is the desire of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him should possess everlasting life, and I shall raise him up in the last day. Well, let me tell you, brothers and sisters, there's a prophecy for us, a beautiful prophecy, and we can hang on to this prophecy, because if you believe in the Messiah and you believe in the works that he has done, then he will raise you up in the last day. So now we have the scriptural background to understand the first sign or oath, because in this constellation we have a virgin holding a branch or sprout in her right hand and grain or seed in her left hand, which supports the Abrahamic prophecy in Genesis 22, verse 17 and 18. And it says, I shall certainly bless you, and I shall certainly increase your seed as the stars of the heavens, and as the sand which is on the seashore. And let your seed possess the gate of their enemies. And in you, your seed, the coming one, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. Now look at Genesis 3:15. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. This prophecy, by the way, is the very first prophecy that was ever given concerning Virgo. And it's so important that you understand this. This is the beginning of the prophecies of Virgo. Okay, Isaiah 11:1, and this one is right there in the middle. And a rod shall come forth from the stump of the Yeshai, and a sprout or a branch from his roots shall bear fruit. Okay, remember one of the meanings of the names of the stars was the branch. Okay, now the rod refers to the son of Elohim, and the stump refers to Israel being reduced to a remnant because of their sin. And that's seen in chapter 6, verse 13 of Isaiah. Yeshai, King David's father, was a righteous man from Yehudah, and the sprout, or in some translations, branch, refers to the son of Adam. So the branch, son of Adam, came from the righteous remnant of Israel, the virgin. So now we can see how the heavens declare the esteem of El, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Isaiah 7:14. Therefore Yahuwah gives you a sign. Look, the maiden, or more correctly, the virgin, conceives and gives birth to a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. And the reason I can say virgin with clarity is because this is the picture and the meaning of the stars in the heavens, and this is the definition that no man put on it, but this is the definition that Yahuwah put on this verse, or on this constellation. Isaiah 9:6-7. This is another wonderful prophecy, including the child that is going to come from the virgin. For a child shall be born unto us, a son shall be given unto us, and the rule is on his shoulder, and his name is called Wonder, Counselor, Strong El, Father of continuity, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his rule and peace there is no end upon the throne of David and over his reign, to establish it and sustain it with right ruling and with righteousness from now on, even forever. The ardor of Yahuwah of hosts does this. Revelation 12, 1 through 5. And a great sign was seen in the heaven, a woman clad with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And being pregnant, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign was seen in the heaven, and see, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his heads. And his tail draws a third of the stars of the heaven and throws them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she bore a male child who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught away to Elohim and to his throne. Do you see the correlation and how close this matches with the first prophecy in Genesis? And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. Well, here in the last days, we are about to experience this great war and this great enmity between the woman, Israel, and the dragon, which is Hasatan. Now we're at the constellation Libra. Weighed in the balance. It's the second main constellation. In Latin, this constellation is Libra and means weighing. In Hebrew, it is Mozanaim and means the scales, weighing. In Akkadian, the name of this is Tulku and means altar or sacred mound. The star Zubin means price, and the star Zubin El Genib is the price deficient. The star Zubin Akrabi means the price of the conflict or war. And the star Zubin El Khamali means this price which covers. In Hebrew is kafar and means atonement. I don't know about you, but this is totally amazing. Do you see how important the meanings of these stars are? I mean, this is how everything gets put together and is understood. We should never swerve or veer from these meanings, because it takes us away from the original. And this is the sin of Egypt, it's the sin of Greece, and the sin of Rome, that they took these meanings, they changed the meanings, and they also put their false gods in place of the Messiah here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how the meanings of the names go along with the prophecies. This is where, what Yahuwah has shown to me, this is where it comes in. Because he's allowed me to get into the prophecies and read the prophecies, and I can see the meanings of the names of these stars in the prophecies. And this is why these prophecies pop up. Okay, so Isaiah 44, 21 through 23. Remember, what we're looking for is the star Zubin, which is the price, or Zubin El Ganib, the price deficient, and price of the conflict or war, and the price which covers. So Isaiah 44 says, "Remember these matters, O Yaakov and Israel, for you are my servant. I have formed you. You are my servant, O Israel. Do not forget me. I shall wipe out your transgressions like a cloud, and your sins like a mist. Return to me, for I shall redeem you, or I will buy you. You're bought. We are bought. Sing, O heavens, for Yahuwah shall do it. Shout, O depths of the earth. Break forth into singing, O mountains, forest, and every tree in it. For Yahuwah shall redeem Yaakov and make himself clear in Israel. Okay, so for Yahuwah shall redeem Yaakov and make himself clear in Israel. So there again, he's bought us with a price. Now Romans 3:21 to 24 says this. But now, apart from the Torah, a righteousness of Elohim has been revealed, being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets. And the righteousness of Elohim is through belief in Yahushua Messiah to all and on all who believe, for there is no difference. For all have sinned and fallen short of the esteem of Elohim, being declared right without paying by his favor through the redemption price paid, which is Messiah Yahushua. So this constellation is also a picture of judgment. Proverbs 16:7 through 11. And the reason, before I get into that, the reason it's a prophecy of judgment is because, it says that Yahuwah weighs the nations in a balance, and it's like we're fine dust on the balance. So when we're being judged, he puts us on the balance, and he can see where we are, and if we don't balance out, then we have sin on us. So this is what the judgment's all about. So Proverbs 16:7 through 11. When a man's ways please Yahuwah, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than a large income without right ruling. A man's heart plans his way, but Yahuwah establishes his steps. An oath, yes, a sign, is on his lips of the sovereign. In right ruling, his mouth trespasses not. A right scale and balances are of Yahuwah, and all the weights in the bag are his work. Okay, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about the constellation Libra. Look at Job 31:1 through 6. I have made a covenant with my eyes. How then could I gaze at a maiden? For what is the portion of Eloah from above, and the inheritance of the Almighty from on high? Is it not calamity to the perverse, and strangeness to the workers of wickedness? Does he not see my ways and number all my steps? If I have walked with falsehood, or if my foot has hurried to deceit, let him weigh me in a right scale, and let Eloah know my integrity. Well, that's a hard thing to do. It's actually saying, Father Yahuwah, look at me, and then you tell me what you see. And he can see all the problems. He can see all of our sins. And then he can declare to us what sins we have. And that's not an easy thing to do. But it's a very necessary thing for us to do to be saved. Isaiah 40:15. See, nations are as a drop in a bucket, and are reckoned as dust on the balance. See, he lifts up isles as fine dust. Okay, so this brings us to the third constellation, the third main constellation in the heavens. And it's a Scorpio / eagle. And it means the conflict or the wounding. The next constellation, Scorpio, is difficult at best to determine if it was originally a scorpion or not. Many sources say that it was once an eagle. I tend to believe that it was an eagle because of the four faces on the cherubim, the four living creatures. The cherubim, the cherubim, well, in Hebrew it's cherubim. So maybe this has a dual meaning here. I'm not totally ruling out Scorpio, but based on the fact that the cherubim had four faces, they didn't have Scorpio on their faces. Ezekiel 1:5-10. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and each one had four faces, and each one had four wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the soles of their feet were like the sole of calf's foot. And they sparkled like the appearance of a polished bronze, and under their wings, on their four sides, there were the hands of a man. And each one had faces and wings. Their wings touched one another. They did not turn when they went, but each one went straight forward. And the likeness of their faces, the face of a man, and each one of four had the face of a lion, and each on the right side, and each of the four had the face of an ox on the left side, and each of the four had the face of an eagle on the back. And the reason why I tend to go with this is because these are all constellations. See, the face of a man points to Aquarius. The face of a lion is Leo. The face of an ox is Taurus. And the face of an eagle is the constellation we're calling Scorpio. So all four are cardinal points, and they point to specific directions. And according to E.W. Bullinger, the Hebrew name is Akrab, which is the name of a scorpion, but it also means the conflict or war. The Coptic name is Isidis, which means the attack of the enemy or oppression. The Arabic name is Al-Akrab, which means wounding him that comes. Now, Robert Wadsworth, author of A Voice Crying in the Wilderness, stated in one of his teaching at a conference that Scorpio was once an eagle. This seems to fit better because the heavens are the pattern we need to be looking for. The eagle fits better than a scorpion because they're constantly saying to Yahuwah, Kadosh, 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 Yahuwah Shaddai. But like I said, it may have a dual meaning. So for now, I will go with that understanding mostly because of the four faces of the cherubim in the scriptures. So let us now see how this bears out in scriptural prophecies, and can we find a conflict with the eagle involved? Isaiah 31:5. Like hovering birds, so does Yahuwah of hosts protect Jerusalem, protecting and delivering, passing over and rescuing. Oh, that's interesting. Think about that. Like hovering birds, so does Yahuwah of hosts protect Jerusalem, protecting and delivering and passing over and rescuing. Well, this definitely shows Yahuwah as being a bird. It's portraying him as a bird. Exodus 19:3-6. Here's another one. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahuwah called to him from the mountain, saying, This is what you are to say to the house of Yaakov, and declare to the children of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. See, he's even revealing that he's this eagle. The eagle is a picture of him carrying us to a safe place. So let's go on. And now if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. So, here, the eagle is seen to be a blessing to Israel if they obey his voice. But what happens if they don't? They saw what he did to the Egyptians. Here we see two eagles. One represents Yahuwah, and the other one represents Babylon. So, in other words, the eagle can represent two different things. The eagle can represent blessing to Israel, or the eagle can represent conflict and war to Israel or to another nation. Let's look in Ezekiel 17. Ezekiel 17. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle, and speak a parable to the house of Israel. And you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, the great eagle with large wings of long pinions, covered with feathers of various colors, came to Lebanon and took the top of the cedar. He plucked off the topmost of its young twigs and brought it to a land of traders, and a city of merchants he placed it. He also took some of the seed of the land and planted it in the field for seed. He took it by many waters. He set it like a willow tree. So it grew and became a low spreading vine. Its branches turned toward him, and its roots were under it, and it became a vine and brought forth branches and sent out shoots. Okay, that was the first eagle. And there was another eagle with large wings and many feathers. And see, this vine bent its roots toward him and stretched its branches toward him to water it, away from the beds where it was planted. It was planted in a good field by many waters to bring forth branches and to bear fruit, to be a splendid vine. Say, Thus said the Master Yahuwah, is it going to thrive? Is he not going to pull up its roots and cut off its fruit and let it wither? All of its sprouting leaves wither without great power or many people to pluck up by its roots. See, it is planted. Is it going to thrive? Would it not utterly wither when the east wind touches it? Wither the beds where it grows? And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Please say to the rebellious house, Do you not know what these mean? Say, See, the sovereign of Babel went to Jerusalem and took its sovereign and heads and brought them with him to Babel. And he took one of the royal seed and made a covenant with him and put him under the oath. And he took away the might of the land, so that the rain would be brought low and not lift itself up, but guard his covenant that it might stand. But he rebelled against him by sending his messengers to Mitzrayim, to give him horses and many people. Shall it thrive? Shall he escape who was doing these? The king of Egypt tempted the king of Judah and caused him to want to come to Mitzrayim. But he rebelled against him by sending his messengers to Mitzrayim to give him horses and many people. Shall he thrive? Shall he escape who is doing these? And shall he break a covenant and still escape? As I live, declares the Master Yahuwah, in the place where the sovereign dwells, who set him up to reign, whose oath he despised and whose covenant he broke, with him in the midst of Babel he shall die. And Pharaoh with his great army and great company is not going to help him in battle when they heap up a siege mound and build a wall to cut off many beings. And he despised the oath by breaking the covenant. And see, he has given his hand and he has done all this. He is not going to escape. Therefore thus said the Master Yahuwah, as I live, my oath which he has despised and my covenant which he has broken, shall I not put it on his own head? And I shall spread my net over him, and he shall be taken in my snare. And I shall bring him to Babel and enter into judgment with him there for the trespass which he committed against me. And all his fugitives with all his bands will fall by the sword, and those who are left will be scattered to every wind. And you shall know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken. Thus said the Master Yahuwah, and I shall take of the top of the highest cedar and set it out. And I myself shall pluck off a tender one from the topmost of its young twigs, which I believe is the Messiah. And I shall plant it on a high and lofty mountain, and the mountain height of Israel. I plant it, and it shall bring forth branches and bear fruit and become a big cedar. And under it shall dwell birds of every sort. In the shadow of its branches they shall dwell. And all the trees of the field shall know that I, Yahuwah, have brought down the high tree and exalted the low tree, dried up the green tree, and made the dry tree flourish. I, Yahuwah, have spoken and shall do it. So the message of this prophecy is this. If we go against the word of Yahuwah, then the eagle brings us into conflict, and we are wounded. On the other hand, if we listen to his voice, then he will bless us, and he will bear us on eagle's wings and bring us to himself. How beautiful is that? So this constellation, Scorpio, which I believe truly to be the eagle, it is a picture of Israel being taken to a place of safety in the midst of conflict and turmoil. So, let's see. Deuteronomy 28, 47 through 52. Because you did not serve Yahuwah your Elohim with joy and gladness of heart for all the plenty, you shall serve your enemies, whom Yahuwah sends against you in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in need of all. And he shall put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. Yahuwah brings a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies. A nation whose language you shall not understand, a fierce-looking nation, which shows no regard for the elderly, nor show favor to the young. And they shall eat the fruit of your livestock and the fruit of your land until you are destroyed. They leave you no grain, nor new wine, nor oil, nor the increase of your cattle, or the offspring of your flocks, until they have destroyed you. And they shall besiege you at all your gates until your high and fenced walls in which you are trusting come down in all your land. And they shall besiege you at all your gates and all your land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. Isn't that interesting how that now in this time we have a president that wants to build a great wall dividing us from Mexico. And this wall we're supposed to be able to trust in, not to let anybody coming in that we don't know of. And so it's exactly what it's taught. And they shall besiege you at all your gates till your high and fenced walls in which you are trusting come down in all your land. And they shall besiege you at all your gates and all your land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. This is amazing to see this prophecy because it is written so long ago and it deals with us today. Now here's another prophecy, Hosea 6, 1 through 4. Put the ram's horn to your mouth like an eagle against the house of Yahuwah, because they have transgressed my covenant and they have rebelled against my Torah. They cry out to me, my Elohim, we, Israel, know you. Israel has rejected what is good, so an enemy pursues him. They have made sovereigns, but not for me. They have made rulers, but I have not known. From their silver and gold they made idols for themselves, so they are cut off. Edom is an eagle. So here in this prophecy in Obadiah, it's all about Edom. And look what it says in Obadiah 1:4. The vision of Obadiah, this is what the Master Yahuwah said concerning Edom. We have heard a report from Yahuwah, and a messenger has been sent among the nations, saying, arise and let us rise up against her for battle. See, I have made you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who dwell in the clefts of the rock, whose dwelling is high, who say in your heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you raise high as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, from there I shall bring you down, declares Yahuwah. See, so here's an example of Yahuwah being the eagle, and he comes against Edom because of their sin, because of the terrible things that they have done. Okay, so here in Habakkuk 1:2-8, look at this. O Yahuwah, till when shall I cry and you not hear? I cry to you, violence, and you do not save. Why do you show me wickedness and cause me to see perversity? For ruin and violence are before me, and there is strife and contention arises. Therefore the Torah ceases, and right ruling never goes forth. For the wrong hem in the righteous, so that right ruling comes out twisted. Look among the nations of the sea and be amazed. Be amazed, for a work is being wrought in your days which you would not believe if it were told. See, I'm raising up the Chaldeans, a bitter and hasty nation, who is going through the breadth of the earth to possess dwelling places that are not theirs. They are frightening and fearsome. Their right ruling and their exaltation proceed from themselves. Their horses shall be swifter than leopards, and more fierce than evening wolves. And their horsemen shall charge ahead, and their horsemen come from afar. They fly as the eagle, rush to eat. So, here's a picture of Edom coming against his enemies and flying as an eagle. This also points to this constellation, the meanings that are in it. Okay, Lamentations, look at this one. Lamentations 4:11-19. Yahuwah has completed his wrath. He has poured out his burning displeasure, and he kindled a fire on Zion, and it consumed her foundations. The sovereigns of the earth did not believe, nor any of the inhabitants of the world, that an adversary and an enemy would enter the gates of Jerusalem. It was because of the sins of her prophets, the crookednesses of her priests, who shed in her midst the blood of the righteous. They staggered blind in the streets. They have defiled themselves with blood, so that no one was able to touch their garments. They shouted at them, away, unclean, away, away, do not touch. When they fled and staggered, they said among the Gentiles, they shall stay no longer. The face of Yahuwah scattered them. He no longer remembers or regards them. They showed no respect for the priest nor favor to the elders. While we exist, our eyes are consumed, watching vainly for our help. In our watchtower, we watched for a nation that could not save. They have hunted our steps from going in our streets. Our end was near, our days were completed, for our end had come. Our pursuers were swifter than the eagles of the heavens. There it is again. They came hotly after us on the mountains and lay in wait for us in the wilderness. So here we are. We have verses of Scripture that talks about the eagle, that Israel is being born on the wings of eagles, which is a good thing. But then we have verses where the eagle is shown to be in hot pursuit of someone and wanting to come against them and fight them, like Edom and other nations. Like Egypt, he came against Egypt, and while he saved Israel at the same time. So this is the message of Scorpio, I believe. And so the next time I do this, I'm going to go through 3 more constellations and try to give you more understanding based on this. So to say, I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much. And I can't wait till the next time. And we will make this a very, very interesting study. In the name of Yahushua, Amen.